You're up first, sir. Go ahead.
Morning, Kevin.
Morning, Luke.
Your first ACC tournament, I believe, was in Brooklyn as a head coach. You were also in the Garden with Louisville as an assistant coach. How do you feel about the difference between those two buildings as a conference tournament venue?
I don't know, Luke. That's a good question. It's so different. I feel like it's completely different. The way basketball is played, completely different. When I was at Louisville and we played in the Garden, don't hold me to this, but I think we had struggled a little bit, and we went in as a, maybe 7, 8, 9 seed, and we found a way to win it. But that's when basketball was, you could just clobber each other. It was just, it was very physical. The game has completely changed now. But, hey, we won the Big East championship there, so it's pretty doggone good for me, and so I liked it. It's different. Both places are great. The Garden's legendary. This is a newer version of I wouldn't say a new version of the Garden. I wouldn't say that because that would probably upset someone if I said that. But it's completely different. It's a great place to play at. Both venues are great. One's more legendary, and one will be legendary one day. That's probably the best answer I can give you.
We'll go to Jonas Pope. Go ahead, Jonas.
Good morning, Coach. I wanted to ask you, you guys, you took up the win at Georgia Tech. Obviously, basketball's up momentum, but you had this long break after that win. Would you have preferred to kind of keep things going, to kind of keep momentum rolling, or you kind of needed a reset this time of the year?
Yeah, Jonas, you're going to have to ask me that question Wednesday at the press conference, because it just depends on how we play. If you're playing well, you want to continue to play, but you need some rest. I would hope that us having off, and we've been fortunate, we're one of the few teams that didn't have to pause for COVID, and that's why we were able to get the weekend off. But I will know more Wednesday when we start playing in the game, whether we wanted to keep playing or the rest really helped us, because I don't think any coach will know that until you play. Sometimes it's so important. I do know that, we don't have that much depth, and our guys were tired. And we've, the week before we played a lot of games. And so hopefully the few days that we got off, the rest was good. But when you're playing well, and that was probably one of our best, our most complete games on both ends of the floor. And I would have rather played the next day, but I don't know how Wednesday will be. So I hope it'll be great for us in our favor.
And I want to ask a quick follow-up. How much?
Go ahead, Jonas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just as a quick follow-up, how much time do you guys have off versus how much time you guys on the court during this long stretch?
Yeah, we when did we play that game, Jonas? Tuesday. We came back and we took Wednesday and Thursday off. Got back in the gym on Friday, Saturday, took Sunday off, and then practiced today and tomorrow to get ready for Wednesday. So it was the first time that we could have a couple of days off in a row, and I think we really needed it.
James Henderson, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, hope you're doing good this morning. I wanted to ask you about Cam Hayes. It seems like you put together a couple of really strong performances for you coming off the bench the last couple of games. Was there something specific you've seen from him that maybe saw those performances coming?
He's had better practices, and I think he's put together several practices back to back where he affected practice. He was playing good basketball, and it's carried over into the game. It's really, he's had a tough year, but to his credit, he hasn't put his head down and laid down with it. He's continued to work, and that's all you can ask for a coach. And when I say tough year, I mean that he hasn't shot the ball the way we expected him to shoot the ball for the year, but he's still competing. He's still playing hard. Everybody that's frustrated with Cam is frustrated with himself because he knows he's a much better player than he's shown. And we're sticking with him and continue to help him grow in practice and through individual workouts and everything else. And it's good to see him playing the last couple of games to have some success because he deserves it.
And obviously on Boston College, Coach Grant's in his first year up there. Are you familiar with him from your time coaching? And obviously, what have you seen from those guys?
Well, familiar because we're in the same league, but that's been 5 years ago. And so a lot of things have changed in 5 years. But, Earl's doing a really good job with his team. And what I mean by that is they compete and they play hard. And that's what you want when you try to come in and take over a program. I remember my first year, my first message to those guys is, hey, we don't, obviously you're going to get a new system. You're going to have a new coach, new strategies, new defense. But if you will compete and play hard, I'll be happy. And we were fortunate enough to have a really good year that year. And his guys are competing. They play hard, and, they're actually a really good basketball team because they've got, usually in your first year, it's tough to get road wins, and they've got one at Clemson and done a good job, and, had a chance to almost sweep a good Notre Dame team twice.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
Thank you.
Corey Smith, go ahead.
Kevin, going back to that Georgia Tech game last week, you look at the final numbers and there was only 9 assists as a whole, but really seemed like the team was moving the ball around a lot more. You talked at times about how the ball has gotten stuck, for this team. What were your thoughts on that performance? And, how much have you guys put an emphasis on continuing that heading into this week against Boston College and UNC on Saturday?
Corey, I thought we've had 2 really good games where we shared the ball, and both of them happened to be against teams who played zone. I thought in the Syracuse game, we made 16 threes because we moved the ball and we did a lot of things, and we didn't have the outcome that we would like. We ended up losing that game. And then on the road, at Georgia Tech, we were able to move the ball, and we saw the reason why we didn't have as many assists because we moved the ball around and we had some driving lanes and we took advantage of it and we got out in transition. But that was one of our better games on both ends. What I mean by that is offensively, I thought we came out of the gate playing extremely well, and then we did a good job defending. We knew going into the Georgia Tech game, in order to win the game, we needed the game to be in the 70s, and I know they would love for it to be in the 60s. And I was proud of our guys. We had some guys that play well, and Terquavion Smith completely carried us in the first half with those 18 points. But it was good. It was refreshing to see our team play. And, we've had 3 games this year where you look at this team and say, man, even though they're undermanned and they don't really have a back to the basket post, man, they've played some good basketball. And at Louisville, and, same thing could be said at Virginia Tech. And then when we play Virginia here.
And wanted to ask you too, specifically about Derryon Seabron. I know obviously we talked about his performances over the year, but I wanted to first of all go back to when you recruited him. Did you see, this for him eventually at some point, or and also, what has his development meant for this team and this program as a whole?
We did, Corey. We saw a guy who's long, athletic. He's 6'6" and, has perimeter skills, and you can kind of play him at multiple positions. We saw a slashing guy that can get out in the passing lane and get out in transition. And his development has completely helped this team. And we've actually needed him to play the way we played. Man, this would be a completely different team if we had, our returner and Manny Bates. But in some respects, our points in the paint, because our young bigs can't score, have come from Derryon Seabron. He does it in a little bit of different way, and so that's kind of helped us a little bit. It doesn't help us when we need to get a basket where we can throw the ball inside, but he's done it in a different way where he can drive the ball. So he's actually, even though he's playing the point for us, he's probably been our best post guy because he's our leading rebounder and our best post touch guy, paint touch guy.
Thanks, Kevin.
Any other questions for Kevin? Kevin, it looks like that's